Welcome to Unit 4.6. In this unit, we're going to learn how to split up, let's say, for example, in our office ID, I want a separate sheet for London and a separate sheet for New York. So how do you split up pivot table reports into separate sheets? This is a great tool and a big time saver. So into Insert, Pivot, change into our tabular form. The way we've been doing it is we've been using columns, values, and rows, and we haven't yet used the filter here. So let's do our normal race report. Now, at the moment as it stands, this is the values for the whole company, basically. But what I'd like to do is split it up into separate cities. So I'm going to take Office ID and put it into filters. What happens when you put something in there is it will put it in A1 as a drop-down list. So I can either filter it in place or split into separate sheets. So let's just choose Brussels, for example. That would just be the result. What is quite nice, sometimes you can select multiple as well, and that will give you a total for all the items that have been ticked. But let's go ahead and split into separate sheets. In order to do this, we need to go to the Analyze tab, and there is something called Options here on the far left-hand side. Click on the arrow, choose Show Report Filter Pages, and it picks up whatever you've put in your filters up here at the top. Click on OK, watch the sheets at the bottom. There will be a sheet for every single city, which is such a big time saver. No copying, no pasting. And if I go to near the end here, you'll see my database is still intact, but I now have a report for every single city. So that's a great tool. I also want to talk about grouping. So for example, their date of employment here, the started column. I'd like to condense it into months. So for example, how many of each race did I take in January and February? And you may even want to look at it over years if you're analyzing. So let's insert a pivot. And change it into tabular. We're going to do our normal race count over here with the started field. I've still kept the grouping on, so let's just ungroup it. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like initially. It's not very neat, doesn't tell me very much because it's got the full date here. Now if I right click on one of these dates and I say group, it allows me to group into months, into quarters, which is great for finance as well, because they always look at quarterly results. In this instance, I just want to look at months and years, and OK. And look how fast that is. It now groups it into years and months. And then obviously my eye is looking for a total for the year. So I'd need to right-click on the year and subtotal years, as we learned in a previous example. Select my totals, and let's shade them. And so I've just grouped into months and years very, very quickly. It took me a minute to do. So that's how you group and how you split into separate sheets.